Hey guys, welcome to my fish tank video. I am going to be explaining my setup and how I do things, and hopefully you guys can comment on any better ideas, questions, whatever you like. Feedback is much appreciated. Here is my tank here. Sorry for the video. This is a 90-gallon tank that used to be my old African cichlid tank that has now been converted to my Sump. This here is an extension refugium. As you can see, I have a refugium here, and I felt it wasn't big enough, so I added a 30-gallon here. I will explain in a second. First, let me explain the plumbing. Right now, as you can see from the ceiling, these are my pumps coming from my main display, which is upstairs, which comes down here. On the right side of the tank here, this pump right here comes straight down, which normally goes into a filter sock, but right now I'm washing them. I was a little behind. Which in turn will go into my protein skimmer. As you can see, it is working well. Then from that chamber, we'll then go into the middle section here, which when followed around, let me turn the light on here, that's a little bit easier, okay, which will then follow around and then go into my return down there. My heaters are here as well. I have two 500 watt heaters set about a minute, I'm sorry, a temperature or so apart as a backup, and then that goes up to the display via my return. The other side of my input here is the water comes down this pipe, and as you can follow it across, then pops out here into my refugium section. Now you notice the clownfish, he was acting a bit aggressive upstairs to the other clowns. So I brought them down here like a timeout, if you will. I also have a star polyp coral here that, since you notice I just turned the lights on, it's not really ready and awake. I put it down here because it was growing a bit excessively and I didn't want to throw it out. It was really nice, so it's doing quite well here. I also have a bit of an issue here with some some cotton candy algae that I've been fighting for a while now. I have a spider conch in here that's doing a pretty good job of keeping it contained, however it is still here. Alright, so as it fills into this tank, it then will come down the other skimmer here and pop down into this refugium here. I have to clean it up. And then you could see my cotton candy issue again. I'm ultimately going to throw this piece of Cheeto out and start all over because it doesn't seem to really be growing anywhere else but the Cheeto, in the exception of that corner, but I could pull that right out. The only problem is there's a lot of pods in that Cheeto, but it's a shame. I'm going to have to throw it out. It then, like I was saying, with the water continuing over, it flows into this section back here and then goes back up to the tank. I separated my skimmer from my refugium because I didn't want the skimmer to take the nutrients out of the refugium. I wanted my algae to grow and help with pH and just nutrient export. Seems to be working well. I think I'm happy with it. But you'll also notice here is I have my phosphate reactor. I put this hanging in the tank just in case it ever leaks, because if anyone owns the two little fishes, you know these plugs aren't very good, but they've been pretty solid. So then, as well, I have my carbon reactor here from Reef Supply, which is running off of a pump inside, so things are running well. This here is actually teed off from my pump to reduce the flow to the tank because my pump was causing cavitation, which was giving me micro bubbles in the tank. This helped by relieving the pressure off the pump. Alright, let's see here, any other things going on? I have my the lights here for the refugium are two basic lights I bought from Home Depot. They're about $7 each with fluorescent bulbs running in them. Ooh. And they seem to be doing well, but I don't think it has anything to do with the cotton candy, but it seems to be doing well. My Cheeto did grow well until the cotton candy algae got pretty crazy. And here I have my old compact fluorescent, nice Chlorolife that seems to be running well as well. From this here, you can see I have my calcium and alkalinity, which is being dosed via my bulk Reef supply dosing pumps. This is all being controlled via my Apex controller, highly recommended. This here is my auto top off water. It's a 10-gallon reservoir with my JBJ ATO. I'm not too happy with the ATO, with the JBJ piece, but it seems to do the trick. It sometimes can get locked, where it calls the pump, but it actually doesn't issue power to the pump. Here I have my water change water. I have my 2 sediment filters here. This is a 5 micron, 1 micron. Then that goes into my carbon 1 and carbon 2. And then from there it goes to my RO. Then back over to my DI1 and DI2 as a backup. I use my little test meter here to tell me when I need to change. As you can see right now, the water coming in is 108 and going out is 0. So I'm happy with that. How could you not be? From the RO DI, I have the water coming down into a T here. From this T, it gives me an option to put water in certain things whenever I need RO, DI water. Then from there, it goes into another T. This one here goes into my auto top off reservoir. And then this here will then go into my water change bucket, which is a 40-gallon brute container, 44-gallon, sorry. I estimate it's probably about 35 gallons of water in it, which is basically my measurements. Then I have this here, which is a nice little feature. This unit here senses water, if ever leaked, which I've had those issues and we all have. And then it will trigger that mechanism right there, which will kill the feed coming in and stop feeding the RODI with water. Okay. So yeah, this is where I do all my mixing. I have temperature in here, as well as a Corellia power head to kind of stir everything up, as well as the air bubbles. The air bubbles seem to definitely help the pH. You run air in your RODI water for a couple of days, and it gives you some nice pH. As you know, RODI water, the pH is lower. Okay, so that's the basics of my system down here. I didn't show the pump. I have a Reflow hammerhead, which honestly is a bit overdone for me. I don't need such a powerful pump, but my local fish store at the time recommended it, and I kind of regret it only because of the power draw. It's been a solid pump other than that. Alright, my water changes when done. I have a hose going down here to a pump. As you can see, that's strictly there to expel water out of the system and into the sink. As you can see, the water goes into the bucket. Let me walk you closer, because this is a weird setup that everyone thinks I'm crazy until I explain it. I have the water line dropping into the bucket, and then from the bucket going down into my sink. Now you see this little setup here? Just happened to be part of the PVC. I wasn't going to go out and buy more PVC. I had it. I plugged it in together. It works. It's crude. No one sees it other than, I guess, you guys. The reason I do this, though, is because when I had just the hose going down to the sink, it came down pretty low. And if you could see the balance of the heights here, my sump ended up being higher than the sink, and therefore created a siphon. So after a water change one day, I came down here and realized that most of the water was still going. this seems to solve the issue because it pours into a bucket and then from there it just pours right back out. So while I'm plugged that in and the water is exiting out, I plug in the pump that's always in here into this right here, which is part of my auto top off. I unplug the fresh water from the auto top off and I plug this in, the salt water. And basically as the water level drops from the pump exhausting the water out, the RO top off kicks on, but instead of the fresh water it pumps in my salt water. Even exchange, nothing stops, everything is constantly working at that moment. Okay. Down here I have this line. This is an ASM G3, which took me a long time to tune in. I was not happy with it at all. I really hated it. Now I'm starting to like it a little bit more. This line here is feeding air into it from the outside, which is helping my pH as well. It's giving fresh water in. But this here, I drilled in because it was just, as everybody knows, a pain in the butt. And sometimes it would overflow and things would come out. And this just made life a little easier. I still clean this skimmer once a week, completely inside and out, but this will save me here and there. This skimmer now, the line plugs in to down here. And what I'm using here is, well, originally, I'll give you some history here. Originally I had a bucket here and this setup. So the water was pouring down into here. Simple, right? No big deal. Until your skimmer goes crazy and starts pumping all the water out, and then I had a flood because it overflowed and half my tank was empty. Well, company Avast Marine Works makes this awesome piece. They sell containers, or they sell this, which just goes on a regular 5-gallon bucket. It fit on the ice melt bucket. It actually didn't fit on my Tropic Marin salt buckets, but it worked on this. Luckily I had it. And what this does is this has a valve here. It's your typical air valve, float valve if you will. Not really float, but when the skimmer fills up the water, this valve kicks this relay, and then this speaks to my apex, my Neptune apex, and it kills power to the protein skimmer. So if there's enough skim mate, or if my skimmer decides to just pull a lot of wet, it will stop the skimmer, therefore creating or not creating a flood, as well as stopping the skimmer from keep pumping water out of your tank. Alright. This, as you can tell, I mean, this is temporary. I just got this not too long ago, and I put it all together. It seems to be working well. Alright, I think that's it for down here. Just follow me up and we will, I'm going to take you for a little walk to my display tank. Okay, this is my display tank. It is a 220-gallon mixed reef. It is about a year old now. As you can see, my corals are doing well. I have another diatom bloom. It's very, very common. It just comes and goes. It's driving me crazy. I think I need some more snails, some siths. So this is... Now here, I have my MP40s. These are the Ecotech Marine MP40s. I have 2 of them. And you could see that they used to be on the back. The reason I had them on the back was because I did not have room on the sides. The sides of the tank, because I have a cabinet, let me turn on the light, sorry for the video. the cabinet here is pretty tight to the fish tank. I have about 2.5 inches on each side. So the MP40s didn't really fit. I put them on the back, and I was really unhappy with how they were on the back. Not that I was unhappy with the product itself, it's just that I've seen what it can do in other situations. I was unhappy with it in my tank. So what I did was, as you can see, it's a tight spot. What I did was I actually took off the spacer that they recommend that you put on for this size tank, and then I put the rubber gasket on, the little rubber piece that they give you to hold it, and it's working fine. It fits. There's enough space for air, and it seems to be running. I hope they work for a while. I hope they don't overheat or anything. But up top I have the aqua illuminations. I only have 3 of them. I plan to get more, but the tank is pretty well lit up. The only thing that might change is that I'm going to start putting some shelf rock in to try to build some more SPS on top, and I might need more dispersion of the light. Now, if you're wondering what this string is, this is a clip. I put my seaweed on it, and I put it in the water, and the fish seem to love it. They chase it around and try to get the algae, and it works well because I hate putting a rubber clip in there. Alright, now down here it's a bit of a mess, but this is where I keep my fish stuff, on the left side. I don't get the whole thing because I'm the man in the house. You have here is the vortex that I'm showing you up there. This is the master, and that's the slave back there. This is my aqua illuminations controller, and then here is my apex. pH is a little low, just kills me. The reason well, the apex can control the vortex as well as the aqua illuminations on its own, but I still am using the aqua illuminations controller because I'm still adjusting it a lot, and that gives me a quick fine-tune adjustment. And then once I'm happy with the light and the process it's doing, then I'll probably connect it back to my apex. The vortex controllers I didn't buy yet, because at first I was thinking, what's the point? It kind of does everything on its own. Anyway, it will go through its cycle. It has a feed mode, as well as it has a night mode that automatically comes on when you set it to come on. So it's nice. But what's good about the controller that I just learned is that I could constantly switch the speed, the sync or anti-sync, which what that means is the slave pump could either do the same as the master or do the opposite. So you can constantly be switching it up, which makes things much more natural. Down here is actually a battery backup for the Vortex. Vortex sells one that I believe works for about 10 hours or so, but I already had that battery backup for other pieces of electronics, and I chose that to use it because I had it. Up here is my oh wow, I forgot what you call it, blanked out. But here's my return. I have a long pipe on top of it with a little hole. It's silent. It works. Don't mess with it. That's pretty much it. And I guess that's it. That's my tank. And my setup. Took about 3 or 4 months of planning. I put everything together myself as a newbie, learning, going through forums and lots of YouTube videos. And I got myself to here, and quite happy. I'm loving it. As you all know, it's very, very expensive. It's more expensive than you always think it's going to be. But for some reason, we all keep doing it. Alright, so enjoy, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. Again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I hope that you guys have comments, whether good or bad. I want to know, is there something you see I'm doing wrong? Is there something you see I'm doing right? Let me know. All right, everybody enjoy. Bye-bye.